Welcome to another episode of Port Charles Chat. I'm Mom.
And I'm Brandon.
Thank you for joining us again today. Today we're discussing the week of September 23rd through September the 27th. And I'll start again with my top 10. All right, first of all, Martin Gray has been hired by Sunny to represent Alexis during her incarceration. So anyway, Alexis does meet with Martin, and they do have a long discussion. Alexis does admit to just about everything that occurred and was very honest with him. And what Martin wants Alexis to do is to actually recant her statement and to so that they can kind of tell the truth. But that's something that Alexis does not want to do, because if she does that, she is sure that Christina is going to make sure that, well, if she does that, she knows that Christina will actually be the one who will be blamed for the crime. And Christina will do everything to protect her parents at the same time. And so Martin then turns around and says, well, then we need to show that someone else could possibly be responsible. And in that case, that would be Sunny. And so that's where they kind of left it there with whether or not Alexis will incriminate Sunny. They don't allude to they're going that way or anything like that. That was just a conversation that they had. All right. And then the second and one of the number two, I should say, another scene that kind of occurs this week as we go back to Anna, Jason, Holly, and Sidwell and Lucky. They're all at this point in time in the compound, and they're kind of being held captive in the compound. Sidwell has realized that Holly does know Anna, and they do have a conversation discussing this a little bit. But regardless of that, they're all in a compound, and he wants to continue playing cards with both Lucky and with Jason. They do make a bet, but in the end, by the time they finish the card game, it looks as though Jason and Anna would die based upon who won the card game. So all that to say, they both go back to their cell, and then we're left with Lucky and Holly along with Sidwell. Somehow they managed to get the gun from Sidwell, and Lucky's able to loosen his or take apart his chains and his handcuffs, and then Holly drops the weapon. It was just a big mess of a fight. And so anyway, that's part one of the fight. Part two occurs back in the jail cell, where we do have Anna, and we also have Jason together. And the guards do come back in, and the three of them attack the guards. However, the guards do eventually overpower them. They go downstairs. They are led downstairs to where they think is their death. And that ends kind of like a portion of it. I did leave out one important fact that has been what I've read everywhere, and I saw it was that in the midst of all of this, Anna and Jason do share a kiss, and that's something that I've seen people have talked about all over the internet. But that's something that did occur while they were in the jail cell together. Bran, out of those two, and I'm going to go back a little bit to the compound. Did I leave out anything initially?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so now I'm going to switch gears just a little bit to lead to the part two of the compound. Carly goes back and speaks to the WSB, and Brennan has actually realized that they actually need a little bit more help. They meaning the group who's helping Lucky. And so he can kind of see what's going on. And so he has certain people from the WSB provide a plane, and then they use the word drone, but they kind of bomb or drone or something like that to the compound. And so the group is able to escape. And that's how they all kind of leave the compound. At the end of the day, all of them were on a plane, and they were headed back to Port Charles. At this point in time, Carly is actually with Brennan, and she's just very happy that they are, at this point in time, safe. In the midst of all this, Holly has taken diamonds from Sidwell, And Sidwell is not very happy about this, and so he says that he is going. And we're kind of left with just Sidwell kind of running off a little bit, but the group is in a plane, and Lucky is able to make a phone call home, and he does speak to Liz, or at least he begins to speak to Liz, and that's how we're left on Friday's episode. So that is one theme of a plot that went on this week. Alrighty. So now we're going to go back to Holly. Oh, I'm sorry. Now we're going to go back to Molly. Earlier this week, Molly and TJ are both they're both not connecting all the way together. So Molly goes to a bar where she meets Dex, and they do have a really nice conversation, and they spend some time together. TJ, in the meantime, is busy talking to Curtis. So he has a conversation with Curtis. And so they're both speaking about their feelings for one another to other people. And then, but TJ just does tell his family that he and Molly aren't always connecting together with each other. Alrighty. And then we're left with Tracy. Tracy meets with Stella and they have a nice conversation. And then she kind of realizes how she's been treating Cody and Sasha. And so Tracy does go and she does apologize to Cody and Sasha later. Um, and then Drew. In the midst of all of this, too, Drew has decided that with both of his companies, that he needs to divide, and he can't do it all. And so what he does is he divides the companies, and he wants Curtis to be in charge of Aurora, and then he wants Michael to be in charge of ELQ. Ned is not too happy about that in regards to the ELQ stance, and so Drew kind of leaves them both to kind of figure it out. And in the end, Ned and Michael realize that that Michael should actually be the one who's kind of in charge at this time. Ned seemed to be okay with that, but Ned comes out later and says that he doesn't trust Drew, and he doesn't know quite what's going on with him. All right, and then Diane. On another front, Diane knows that both Sonny and Carly need to actually be together in order to secure their alibi or for people to believe the alibi that they gave each other. And so they both attempt to be together in regards to they go to a restaurant and it looks like they're going to have dinner, but in essence, they both look very pained. And Carly does leave the dinner really early. While they're there, Natalia comes in and Sonny does spend time with Natalia. Diane is there also, and Diane is not that happy about that because she is trying to make sure that they are able to keep up with their alibi. And so she has a few words for Sonny. But in essence, Carly and Sonny, they like, but they're not ready to act like they're together. Um, and then one last part that actually I was kind of shocked that they showed this, but Portia and Trina have dinner. Portia and Trina have dinner this week, and while they have dinner, Portia does tell mentions to Trina that Heather's blood levels do not show as they did previously, and so Trina's kind of shocked to hear this, and then we later find in a flashback scene that Portia has changed the the reports on the blood reports on Heather. And so now it appears as though the cobalt level in Heather's blood, it was not affected as they once thought it was. That's the way it appears now. And of course, Portia at the same time has kind of laid the groundwork for people to think that Brad has done this because Brad is back and Portia has a meeting with Terry and she acts very shocked that Brad is back. And so, Brandon, I think I have hit all the major highlights in like a top 10 list. Did I leave anything out?
I think that was satisfactory.
All right, sounds good. All right, Brand, let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to what we think the storyline of the week is. And so for me, I thought the storyline of the week was actually has to deal with Lucky along with his group that's with him for several reasons. One being it's just that they basically wrapped it up, or at least they wrapped it up in the compound. And so I was happy to see that that part was done. And even though this storyline has dragged on for a long time, they did wrap it up to me in one day. And so I was kind of happy to see that they did that. All right, Brandon, did you have a storyline for the week of the week?
Well, yeah, I definitely will agree with that. This is our 13th week doing these Port Charles chats, and yeah, I mean, I definitely believe that it was truly the lucky storyline all the way, and everyone involved with it, both in the compound and for those still in Port Charles.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. And then as for the actor of the week, I kind of had two people in mind. Believe it or not, I thought about Jordan. And I say Jordan because she had two scenes that we'll talk about in a little bit that I really, really liked. And normally I don't pay attention to Jordan, but this time I kind of did. My second person was Tracy because I liked the conversations that Tracy did have with Stella. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I thought both of them did a really good job this week. All right, Brandon, who do you think the actors of the week for you?
Yeah, well, I was definitely going to say Tracy Quartermain for the reasons you just said. I think that she just had a lot of both fun and impactful scenes in there. Like I said, from her conversation with Stella to with uh, Cody and Sasha. So yeah, but I could definitely easily put yeah Jordan out there as well.
Okay. All right. And then as for my amusing scene of the week, this one actually, I'm going to mention Stella and Tracy because they had a really nice long conversation. And I thought it was kind of very appropriate. They both talked about their kind of thoughts and feelings. And Tracy talked about Cody and Sasha, but then Stella kind of brought her back down to explain why she thinks that she's being affected by Cody and Sasha's relationship. So I really like that, and they did it. It was a very done in a very lighthearted manner. So I thought that was nicely done. Were you amused by any scenes of the week?
Well, that was definitely the top one. There were some other times throughout the week that I could get a kick out of. For instance, many of the involvings of John Brennan, and him roaming around, especially with Carly and Diane going around. It's like no, you can't keep flirting with all these people, and same with Sunny. You all have to get together, and the very awkwardness of Sunny and Carly back together.
Yes, yeah. The awkwardness of Sonny and Carly, that was very amusing. All right, and then there were a couple of touching scenes this week, and so for touching scenes of the week, I'm going to go back to Jordan and Alexis. Jordan went to the jail to visit Alexis, and I thought, as two grandmothers or potential grandmothers, that they did a really nice job of having them speak to each other and to express their feelings and to kind of and which is a dynamic that I don't think they had explored yet. And so I did like those scenes together that they both had when Jordan went to go visit Alexis. I also like the Molly and Dex storyline, which surprises me. But when they went at the bar together, I thought they had a nice conversation, and so I really like the way that they bonded together. And let's see, and I already mentioned Stella and Tracy. Even though they were amusing, I thought they had a nice touching storyline also. All right, Brandon, did you think there were any touching storylines of the week for you?
Well, certainly to add all those, yeah, that you just mentioned, but I'm also going to say, Ned and James, because theirs was both amusing. It could fit in that previous category, but also too that James is really trying to understand like what is love and why certain actions, maybe loving for some couples and not so much for another, which is itself a big revelation.
Yes, that was. And that's something I didn't mention either, was that James did mention to Ned about the Drew and Willow relationship, or a little bit as he would see it from his age. All right. My fast forward moment of the week is once more Drew. I'm very tired of Drew. So that was my fast forward moment for this week. Brand, did you have a fast forward moment?
Drew and Willow all the way. I mean, it, for what it's worth, Willow's at least attempting, from what it seems anyway. Yeah, to do her best to stay away, but Drew just keeps sort of showing up, and yeah, it's. I think it's one thing like for 1 week, but for all of these weeks, like they don't seem to even be progressing in that storyline. It's just the stay away from me. But maybe now that James has told, maybe we're gonna get somewhere.
Yeah, maybe we will. And then I have a new category for us. And this is like a blast from the past mention. And this is why I say this. Somewhere in the middle of all the storyline, we get a mention about Steven Weber. And we haven't talked about him in years. And I know you don't know who he is, Brandon. We talked about him, of course, offline. And I had to explain to you that he was, his relationship to Elizabeth. But all of a sudden he's out of jail, which makes me wonder, are they thinking about bringing a Steven Weber back? I don't know. But so I was kind of shocked that they mentioned his name. So that is my mission from the past category this week. All right, Brandon. Let's see. And then welcome back. First of all, welcome back to Terry again, because it's been a long time since Terry's been in here. She may have had a mission about a week or so ago, but it really has been a while. And then Lucy. Lucy's been missing in action too. So welcome back, Lucy, this week. Once more, we're still missing Kevin and we are missing Laura. Where are you? Why has no one gone to look for you? Shouldn't someone tell the WSB to go find you? Because apparently they were able to find it 4 people in a compound, but they can't find, no one can find Kevin and Laura. And no one seems to be. And the only concern anyone had was today. We're taping this on a Friday, and so on today's episode, we did have Lucky mention his mother, and he said, "Oh, good, they should be safe." Well, no one knows where they are. They're just roaming around somewhere in East Africa. So yes. So where are they? Brandon, do you have a "where are they" moment?
Well, I actually have some from the Blast of the Past mentions, and we
Yeah.
got a Epiphany mention,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, from Elizabeth and the column that she brought. We also got a mention again of a Finn, and also we got the indirect mention of Gregory Chase with them having sit in the bench that they dedicate to him.
Oh yeah, those are good ones to catch, Brandon. All right. And then I have the what about next week and what am I looking forward to? I am looking forward to Lucky just coming back in town and speaking to people because, they've talked about him for so long. So it'd be nice to see him kind of interact with everyone. And I'd like to see him go and see Elizabeth, but hopefully they will bring Aiden in so that he can have some interaction with Aiden and see his son. Um, so that is what I'm hoping for next week. We do know that Sidwell's alive and well, and he's looking for his diamonds. And so I guess from that means that he will eventually make his way to Port Charles. I was kind of hoping they'd leave him at the compound, but I have a feeling he'll be in Port Charles. All right, Brandon, what are you looking forward to next week?
Well, on top of what you're saying about Lucky, I hope that they just get the whole transplant part done first. Since they keep repeatedly mentioning that Lulu's running out of time, and while the preview doesn't really indicate that we saw that they're going to start the process of that, but I hope they do because I could very easily see General Hospital just sort of going through the oh wow, Lucky's here, and but it's like, well, what about Lulu? So hopefully they get that sort of wrapped up. And I don't know, I was a little surprised that we didn't see any extra people in Sidwell's compound, like some other people that disappeared. So maybe they're still around somewhere, like Scotty that's still missing, the pharmacist that's potentially still in hiding. He said he had a family several weeks ago. Was that over a month ago that that happened? So where are they? Do we at least get some closure with that, or I don't know.
Yeah, those are good questions, Brandon. Good questions. All right. And so we thank everyone for joining us today. Make sure that you watch along. If you haven't seen this episode of General Hospital this week, go back and watch them. They were actually pretty good. And let us know in the comments what we forgot or what your thoughts are about some of the categories that we have, any categories that we need to add. And we look forward to seeing all of you next week or speaking to all of you next week. All right, everybody. Have a great evening.
We'll see you
Goodbye.
next time.
Bye bye.